Now, I sat through over 20 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. 20, okay? That's a degree, a mortgage, somebody's entire situationship from start to funeral. And in that time, okay, I watched people fall in love in supply closets. I watched a plane just fall out of the sky, and I watched a bomb in somebody's body cavity. Okay, I watched a deer sinkhole and bus personally end a major character's career, and every time these folks wipe their tears, change their scrubs, and just clock right back in like it was a normal Tuesday. And through all of it, all that drama and crying in the same stairwell, which, hold on, because we're going to come back to that stairwell, okay? Through all of it, we've been asking the wrong question. We argue about who the best surgeon was, who deserved to be with Meredith, who should have never died. We rank the deaths like it's March Madness with grief brackets, but nobody ever stops to ask the one question that actually matters: who did the most damage? And when I rewatched this show as an adult, I finally caught it. The real villain of Grey's Anatomy was standing right in front of us the entire time. And if your first guess is Meredith, then respectfully, you got to go to hell too. Okay? Now, I hate her as well.
So pick me. Choose me. Love me.
But she gets a pass for this one video, okay? But let's get into it. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Indescribable, aka Geraldine Lake, and I'm back with another deep dive into one of my favorite guilty pleasures. Yes, Grey's Anatomy. Now, before you even touch that keyboard, because I know exactly what y'all got lined up for me in the comments. I can already see it, all right? Gary Clark. Sure, the man who shot up the whole hospital. That's not an argument. That's a police report, okay? He's too obvious. Villains with a gun are boring. Boring. Anybody can point at the man holding the weapon and call him the villain. So maybe it's Paul Stadler, Joe's ex-husband, a walking red flag who somehow got a medical license, or maybe even Owen, because every few months I crash out over him. But baby, that's a whole limited series, and we don't have the time today, okay? So those are villains with a capital V. They walk in, they do the crimes and such, and the music goes dun, 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 and then they exit stage left, and it's easy. Okay, the villain I'm talking about barely raised his voice. This man was beloved. He gave speeches so good that you forgot he was apologizing. He got a standing ovation while the building was quietly burning down around him. I'm talking about Chief Richard Webber. And no, put the pitchfork down. I'm not saying Richard is evil, because that's what makes this so juicy. The best villains never think that they're the villain. They think that they're the hero. Richard fully believed he was saving the hospital. The whole time he was helping it fall apart. And that's not a bad guy. That's even worse. That's a good guy with terrible follow through. Okay? And real quick, before I lay this whole case out, if you like the way we get into the stuff nobody else is talking about, go on and tap that subscribe button, okay? So you don't miss the next one, okay? We building something over here. Now let me walk you through it, because once you see it, you cannot see it. Yeah, let's start with the culture, because Seattle Grace wasn't just some unlucky building, all right? It wasn't haunted. It was mismanaged. And there's a big difference. Look at the actual house rules at this place. Doctors dated their supervisors out loud in the daylight. Attendings had favorites and didn't even do the courtesy of hiding it. And the rules only kicked in on the exact episodes the plot needed them, and then they vanished by the next commercial break. And who sets the tone in a building? The person at the top. That's the whole job of a chief. And Richard's entire vibe was, we're family here, which sounds cute until you translate it. Family in this hospital meant that there are no consequences, and HR might as well be Bigfoot, because it don't exist either. All right, be honest. If you took a job on day one, you found out the boss used to sleep with a coworker, everybody dates their managers, and the head of the department has a designated crying stairwell, wouldn't you update your resume right there in the parking lot? Because I would. I wouldn't even want them to validate my parking. Okay, don't worry about it. I'll go work somewhere else. I don't want to work at no damn soap opera. But at Seattle Grace, that was just the culture, and culture starts at the top. Richard didn't cause every fire, but he built the house where every fire felt normal, and then he took the batteries out the smoke detector because he got tired of the beeping. Okay, now here's where I really start to side-eye my man, because Richard didn't lead that hospital. He just parented it. And those are two totally different jobs, okay? Every single time it came down to the rules versus somebody that he cared about, love won in a landslide. Meredith does something wild. Richard's covering it. Bailey, Derek, Izzy, Alex, the whole roster, okay? Protected over and over by a man who could not separate his heart from his title to save his life, or ironically, anybody else's. Okay, and I get it. He watched these people grow up. He's emotionally invested, but that's the whole problem. When you run a hospital where people's lives are literally on the table, feelings can't hold that much weight. And here's the part folks keep missing. When you protect your favorites from every consequence, you're not being kind. Okay, you're raising a whole generation of brilliant doctors who fully believe that they're untouchable, who think rules are for other people. If you're talented and Richard likes you enough, and you can do damn near anything and keep your job.
Just make sure nobody comes through that door. It's okay. Brooke will be here anyway.
Because y'all would be just now pulling me off of Izzy for cutting that man's LVAD wire. But you know what that kind of management creates? That creates Meredith. And oh, hold that thought because we're getting there. And some of y'all not gonna make it. Go get your water now. Let's start with the affair. We have to go there because this is the domino that tips over the entire show. Richard and Ellis Gray, before we even meet most of these people, before Meredith is old enough to claim her own crying stairwell, these two set off a bomb that just keeps going off for 20 seasons like the world's worst gift that keeps on giving. Track everything that traces back to that one relationship. Meredith's whole childhood. Her relationship with her mother, the way Thatcher's life comes apart at the seams, Adele. That loaded, complicated, deeply weird dynamic between Richard and Meredith that hangs over the whole series like an awkward cloud. It's not one storyline, it's the root system the entire show grows out of. And I'm gonna be fair because it takes two to tango, and Ellis Gray was out there dancing too. This ain't me pinning it all on Richard while she get the moonwalk out the side door. But here's the difference. Richard spends the next 20 seasons getting crowned the wise, beloved father figure of this hospital, collecting his flowers, giving the graduation speeches while the thing he did in secret is out there writing the trauma for half the cast. That's why Richard's a good villain. You never would have guessed him. Now, all right, y'all. I need y'all to take a deep breath, okay? In through your nose. All right. Out through your mouth. Because I know them thumbs is twitching already. Look, I love what Meredith Grey represents, okay? One of the greatest characters in the history of television. She carried this entire show on her back for 2 decades. This is far from Meredith slander, okay? But we having a grown-up conversation right now, so be honest with me. If any other intern had done half the things Meredith did, would they have survived at Seattle Grace? Be so for real right now. She interfered with a whole clinical trial. In the real world, that's the kind of thing that ends your career and your license in the same afternoon. But at Seattle Grace, she had a rough couple episodes, a good cry, and then somebody remembered whose daughter she was and felt sorry for her. So now she's back and on to the next biggest mistake of her life. And I'm not even mad at her, honestly, because that's the whole point, right? She was a product of the system. Her mother was a medical genius. When the man at the top loves you like a daughter and you white, sometimes the rules bend around you like a force field, okay? She was just the one standing under the umbrella Richard was holding while everybody else got rained on and occasionally struck by lightning. The rules weren't applied equally at that hospital at all. And the person whose entire job was applying the rules equally was the chief, right? And here's the part that takes him from just a questionable boss to, in my unprofessional and unmedicated opinion, the real villain. Everybody else on this show pays, and they pay in full. People lose their jobs. People lose their licenses. People lose marriages, families, whole entire lives. Y'all know Shonda don't care nothing about no body count. She'll drop your favorite character faster than some draws at Magic City. You hear me?
Tiana, Khadijah, Lenny Carvel, him, her, him, bodies.
Okay? Now, Richard went through his own real struggles too, and I'm not here to make a punchline out of any of that because those were serious. And to the show's credit, they were treated as serious. But look at the leadership pattern around it. He makes a major call at the top that helps things fall apart. He steps back, and then somehow the door to the chief's office just swings right back open again and again and again. So at some point, you got to look at this board of directors and ask, is anybody up there actually doing performance reviews? Is there a single functioning adult in that boardroom? Because the rest of them folks got fired for a fraction of the chaos while they kept handing Richard a fresh nameplate. And that's how you can always tell the real villain of any story is usually the one taking the least damage while everybody around them is truly on fire. So long story short, do I think Richard is evil? No. I think he truly did love those people, and I think he loved the hospital. I think he wanted the whole thing to work more than probably anybody in the entire building, but good intentions don't erase the damage. You can love people and mean well and still fail them completely. And Richard, more than any villain with a gun or a grudge, he built the culture that made every other tragedy possible. A culture where loyalty beat accountability every single time and love that beats the rules right up until the second somebody got hurt, which was actually constantly. So maybe the real villain of Grey's Anatomy was never one person at all. Maybe it was that culture. And nobody shaped that culture more than the man who ran the building for most of the show and kept calling it family. But I want to know what y'all think, okay? Who was the real villain to you? You riding with me on Richard? Or do you think it's Ellis or Owen or Catherine? Somebody I didn't even name? Go all the way off in the comments because I be reading them, okay? And I already know a few of y'all are typing a dissertation as we speak with footnotes. Good. Don't forget to cite your sources, just like I did in the description box below. And if this made you rethink even one scene, hit that like button. If you skip it after all of this, respectfully go to hell, okay? But subscribe on your way out and hit that notification bell so you know every single time your girl uploads, because we family over here. And family don't miss each other videos, okay? So next time I'm coming for another one of your favorites, all right? It's gonna hurt. But until then, I'll see you in the next one, all right? Peace.